Anybody invested in the medium eventually assembles a database of notable creators that round out their understanding and deepen their appreciation of their favorite works. Visual novels are no different. People dig into the scenario writers, artists, and composers behind studios that more often than not give them a crucial sense of identity. You know what a Type Moon game reads like, you know what a key game looks like, and you know the Innocent Grey will aura farm where the greatest art and music of all time just writes some absolute dog shit. But an aspect that is rarely discussed are the vocalists behind visual novel openings, endings, and insert songs. It kinda makes sense. Openings for anime franchises don't usually stick to any prolonged relationship with a certain artist. If what, nowadays they're more like snapshots of larger Japanese pop culture. But unlike anime, visual novel studios, perhaps due to slimmer teams or a different release infrastructure, do actually work with the same singers a lot of the time, letting their voice become another part of the studio's identity. Fans call them utakime, literally meaning song maidens, which is pretty cool, but every time I try to research them, this fuck-ass JJK character just shows up. Get the shit off my screen! Innocent Grey has Haruka Shimotsuki, Aju had Minami Kuribayashi, but the most famous example is, of course, Leah and Key/Visual Arts, which I covered extensively in my video on Torino Uta. But despite her singing my favorite song of all time, Leah is not actually my favorite visual novel vocalist. That would be Kanako Ito. If your reaction to that name is either, oh, the Steins Gate lady, or who? I'm very sad, but you are the person I made this video for. Ito's voice defined an era of aesthetics for its anime freaks that, while largely bygone nowadays, remains distinct from anything else you'll see in video games or anime, and I want to tell you about it. This is not going to be an info dump of her biography, nor is it going to wax poetic like whatever that Torino Uta video became, mostly because there's no context to really talk about. So I will mostly just be gushing over an artist I like a lot and recommending some good songs. If that's cool with you, then let's go back to 2002 and a little studio called... Calling any visual novel studio pulp seems redundant because, like, come on. But if I were to single out a group that really embodied pulp art through and through, it would be Nichou Plus in the early to mid 2000s. Before they were a multimedia conglomeration with their own goddamn fighting game, before their core members wrote some of the biggest anime of the century, Nichou Plus was a smallish studio making dark, boundary-pushing genre fiction in the booming eroge scene. Grimdark fantasy, hard sci-fi, crime thrillers, mecha, eldritch myth, Chinese wuxia, they did it all and sometimes all of it at once. Their games had grandiose, chuny-ass names like Phantom, Phantom of Inferno, and Jingai Makyo. You don't even have to read kanji to see the aura of this title, with art that balanced gritty, horrific imagery with distinctly anime character designs, muted colors and thick brushes with striking, early CG-esque rendering. To this day, the wonderful work of Higashiguchi Chuo, Nishi, and others remain instantly memorable and evocative. It's the type of shit you'd see on the cover of an underground rap song. I think that's a compliment? While their stuff probably never had the mass appeal of a Key or Leaf, one thing you couldn't say was that they had no identity. Another huge part of that identity was Nichou Plus's soundtracks, so crucial they had their own record label, and eventually even hosted their own annual concerts. DEUS Studio, a collective of freelance artists, are the ones primarily responsible for the music in this early era. And they might just be the best to ever do it. They nail the gnarly, high-octane stuff that sounds like the best SMT battle theme you've never heard. The real star of the show is the slower, more tranquil and/or morose stuff, with lo-fi guitars wailing through grungy riffs and synthesized melodies drenched in a spacey atmosphere. They simply don't make shit sound like this anymore, and I'm grieving every single day. But DEUS Studio's crowning achievement, to most likely no surprise, is the Sayano Uta OST, one of the best video game soundtracks ever made in my book. Sabbath, Sin, Silent Sorrow, generational tracks one after another. More importantly, while some previous soundtracks have been more in line with what you'd expect from maybe the end of this era, here DEUS really shows off their skill to craft a unique sense of unease through their composition and sound design. Obviously, if you turn on a song called Schizophrenia, you're not in for a good time, but even much calmer songs in Saya and across their catalog create a lingering disorientation through unresolved notes and oddly abrasive elements. Much like the games themselves, Nichou Plus's soundtracks juxtapose beauty and horror, leaving you questioning whether they are as separated as you think. But nowhere is that contrast more impactful than in their insert songs. Cutting through these gorgeously sparse and haunting orchestrations is a voice unlike any other. Tracks sung by Kanako Ito have punctuated every Nitro Plus release since 2002. And while not all of them are timeless classics, her voice leaves an unforgettable impression. Otherworldly is the only word that I can muster to describe it. Her performances sound distinctly naturalistic, her tone more reminiscent of an alternative pop artist like Imogen Heap rather than the bombastic, classical performances of Leah, for example. Yet when she gets up to that higher register, her gorgeous long notes are imbued with this texture that feels at once alien and utterly comforting. And all of this, of course, is buoyed by some incredible production and songwriting, layering her voice into these fairy-like eulogies that feel so innocent and profound amidst the grime that permeate the rest of the OST. Full exposure, I haven't played a lot of these VNs, if they were even available to play. But every time I turn on a new Nitro Plus game or dug through their soundtracks, Kanako Ito's voice became almost an anchor to my experience, reminding me that this is the distinct Nitro Plus aesthetic and ethos I was looking for. Dark, challenging, but with a penchant for ethereal beauty. When I played Totino and her voice, just her voice, without even any lyrics, showed up in an insert song, the pop in my room would have made you think it was Stone Cold helping Mankind win the title in '99. And those experiences have made my relatively limited time with these titles feel just a little more meaningful. That's what happens when you form an artistic identity. We grow aware of the people that curated this experience and become attached to them as much as any individual work of theirs. Even as she took on other projects later on, even as the studio sensibilities changed, with Supersonico and SMTIV becoming the new staples, Kanako Ito's voice still defined Nitro Plus. And for me, she forever will. Wait, what do you mean she left? Alright, now we're getting to the fun part. What are the best Kanako Ito songs in this humble video person's opinion? While a couple early releases like Hello World's generic anime openings and Demonbane's Coldplay-ass ending were pretty boring, Kanako Ito and ZIDS certainly had more hits than misses early on. The chorus for Kikokugai the Cyber Slayer's opening sounds like swagged out techno Chinese opera. I don't know what version of Demonbane this comes from, but Shadow in the Dark is incredible and has such a 2000s emo tinge to it. Of course, both songs featured in Saya are amazing. The eponymous tracks Harp-like Synths and Mystical Atmosphere is also captured in Hanachirasu's ending theme. But if you want Glass Slipper's pop-rock ballad energy, Tenshi no Nichou Kenjuu's Crystal may just best it songwriting-wise. All of these songs are great gateways into Ito's collaborations with Nitro Plus, but there's one specific song that stood out among the rest for me, and the impetus for basically this entire video. The ending to Kikokugai, 泪尽无影响. It's simply mesmerizing. The eerie and muffled synths trail away like wisps of smoke, building this immaculate, grimy atmosphere over which you can find some of the most gorgeous vocal harmonies ZEUS has ever written. It's the first song I fell in love with after I discovered Nitro Plus's wider history besides Saya and Steins Gate, and the pinnacle of everything we've talked about in this video so far. And it is my love for that song that makes me feel comfortable stopping the timeline at around 2008, before Chaos Head, even though that is at this point the majority of Kanako Ito's output and the songs that she is the most known for. For mundane reasons like age and time, the songs I'm clearly more passionate about, the songs that vividly capture a specific pocket in the 2000s eroge scene, are so different from the SMTIV music that I basically consider them entirely separate. I can talk about how perfect Hacking to the Gate is, or how every Steins Gate Zero song makes me want to die in a ditch, but you've heard those things before. My goal with this video was to talk about the lesser known music Kanako Ito contributed to, songs that may become your new favorites. I promised I wasn't going to get overly sentimental, but I suppose making this video at all means that I do see merit in preserving the legacy these obtuse, possibly overly edgy eroge and their fantastic soundtracks left. Go listen to these songs, buy them if somehow they managed to get incredible pressings like the Sai OST, and if you know more about Nitro Plus's past or older doujin music in general, please recommend other songs in the comments. I'm sure I missed something. Alright, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.